think we lost Ryan.
Yeah, that's so. Oh, so he was froze up when he went out like that. I thought he was doing something. And then he probably on we live too right now, so I guess somebody need to start it up. I don't know how did he used to get it started.
Well, he actually gave me the topic earlier today. I forgot what he said. It was supposed to be on when you're lonely. How do you know when you're alone? Something dealing with loneliness.
How do
Like
you know
when
when
you, yeah, like when you're in situations or things that are going on during your lifetime, and
yeah,
even though you can be with a crowd of people, but still yet you're still
right.
alone.
Or you might be in have a big circle of family or friends,
Mhm.
but you're going through struggle and there ain't nobody out there to lean on,
Mhm.
nobody to talk to, or nobody to bail you out. Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, that can go a bunch of different directions. I can
Yeah,
dig that.
Y'all get me?
we got you.
Gotcha.
Oh, I was watching y'all. Y'all like, hold on, what's the topic? Like man, look. But welcome everyone. We had a little technical difficulty there, but yeah, you can see that the team kept it going, man, kept everything up and running. So that's a good thing. We got the whole part, well, not the whole crew, because we missing Pandora. She, I don't know, I think she may be with us a little later on today. She may come in, but we got the majority of the crew here right now. And I'm gonna go around and let everybody introduce themselves. I ain't important. My name is Raheem. Let's go to my. I guess that will be my right. Introduce yourself, young lady.
Hi, I'm Sharon Gaylord. I'm calling from Columbia, South Carolina.
Good deal. And the young lady down at the bottom, right below me. What's your name?
Hey everybody, my name is Queen Tiva and I am from the Antelope Valley.
Good deal. And to your right, I think it will be to your right, left. I think it'll be to your left, but to my right. Tell everybody who you are, young man.
Rico Jackson, and all the way on the other side of the United States, Anderson, Alabama.
Good deal. Good deal. We got a great topic we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to jump right into this thing and get it started. And the question is, have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt lonely? And I heard what y'all said earlier, and that was perfect in how y'all described it. You could be around a lot of people. You could have a lot of people around you, but you can also at the same time still feel lonely. So it doesn't matter the amount of people. It's what's in on the inside of you. So Sharon, let me ask you the question: have you ever felt lonely?
Yes, I have. I mean, I've even posed the question, with family before. I can be in a room with people and still yet I feel like I'm lost. It truly is what you're going through at that time during your life. If
Hmm.
you're facing challenges and stuff, sometimes you can feel like, you're just out there and you're by yourself.
Hmm.
Even though you may have all the family and family support, to you, you may feel like you're alone in the world because a lot of times people don't like to tell people when they're going through stuff and they don't like to dispose all that stuff. So they keep it within. So they feel alone because they're in that corner by themselves until they
Wow.
open up to someone.
Hmm. What is the process? Paint a picture of what you think the process is with cracking the shell and actually letting someone in. What's that process like, and how difficult could that process be?
Well, it depends on the individual. If you truly feel like you have somebody you can trust, I mean, you can't always let everybody in because you can, like, I could tell Tiva something and then trust her to keep it, and then somebody else get the information. So you really have to be careful of who you decide you're gonna let into your world and what's going on with you and your problems. If you have
Hmm.
them, whether it's emotional or financial or what the situation is, you just have to be trust. You just have to take a fine Pandora. Perfect
Hmm.
example. I could tell her anything. I don't have
Hmm.
to worry about it going anywhere. I know
Yeah.
that no, regardless, I could tell her, and she would
Hmm.
help me to take and make it through. Whether I'm right or I'm wrong, she gonna tell me, and she'll help me figure out a way to get past it. But a
Hmm.
lot of times, it's hard. It's hard because a lot of people don't. I know me. I'm so personal myself. I don't like to let a lot of people in. I try to deal with it, which is not always the best thing, but I do it.
Exactly.
It's the best thing for me.
That's good. That's good. Queen Tiva, what do you say to that? Have you ever felt lonely?
Yes, I felt lonely many times. The way I deal with it is usually when I'm feeling lonely, that means I'm going through something. And a lot of times I just like to be alone. Let me get through it my way. Let me process whatever I'm going through. And my company, I've always had the thought that my own company is the best company. Because I find things to do to keep me occupied. I might journal, I might read a book, I might watch my favorite movie, but definitely just regrouping myself. If I'm feeling low about something, usually I will talk to someone that I trust, that I know that, like Sharon was saying, that they will keep that information to themselves. Because sometimes when you're in a dark, lonely place, you say things in your that you know that you keep inside. Sometimes those words come out. It may sound bizarre. You might
Mhm.
sound suicidal. You might sound a whole lot of crazy. But if you have someone that understands you, and they be like, "Oh, you get through it, girl. You crazy girl." I think that way sometimes too, but it's okay. So you got to have that. You got to have someone that you can talk to. Usually, for me, it's a trained professional. I don't play with my mental health because loneliness to me has depth to it. So if you're really lonely, it can send you into a sunken place where you actually become depressed, and other things can start to arise. So definitely I try to reach out to someone to help me through that. But when I'm feeling lonely, for the most part, I find things to do to keep
Mhm.
me entertained.
Absolutely. Rico, have you ever felt lonely?
Yes, I think I'm pretty sure every human has at one point in
Mhm.
time. Even if it was just being home for a few hours.
Mhm.
Maybe when you have children and then all of a sudden they going off to school for the first time and now you got an empty house. The whole day, the youngest child, they off to school in pre-K. You don't really know if you want them to go. You might want to go and check them out early because you're tired of sitting in that quiet home. Even and sometimes some of the people that we feel like shouldn't be lonely because they got everything that you can ask for. They're lonely, like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a lonely guy. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
number one, he was lonely because he had to be guarded. Like what Sharon was saying, you have to guard yourself and put your walls up because you have opportunistic people that won't come around you for certain reasons. But then at the same time, nobody could relate to him because they had their own assumptions about how his life should be, how he should feel. They didn't know, they put him on a pedestal and then they took the human side from him. And sometimes you just want people to understand you're human. When you
Mhm.
get lonely sometimes and maybe you're in a dark place, you want somebody to talk to. It's good to be a listener, but the best listener can also be a counselor.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got somebody that's listening, but they just really getting a earful. They getting their kicks out of just listening to your business, but they ain't got no kind of good advice to give.
Mhm.
They ain't got no kind of way to make you feel. They don't identify with anything you're saying and say, well, okay, I get what you're going through, man. That got to feel bad. But before you feel that way, let me tell you this. Let me
Mhm.
tell you that this may not be this way. So I mean, sometimes you can have somebody listening, but when they don't give you any kind of correspondence, they probably just trying to hear your business.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And the phone lines are open 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973. Phone lines are open. Give us a call. And we asked the question, have you ever felt lonely? Have you ever felt lonely? Now, Sharon, how do you deal with it? If it's not you that's feeling lonely, but it's a real good friend of yours or somebody that you just recognize in the workplace, maybe you all don't talk a lot, but you notice that person is outgoing, and then all one day or a week go by, and you notice the person is kind of to themselves. They're not doing a lot of talking. They're not interacting or whatever. How do you approach that person, or do you approach that person and find out what's going on?
Well, really, that depends on the nature of the relationship that you have with that person.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody that you're close to, in the job, and you feel comfortable enough to go up there, then you go up and you say, "Hey, yo, girl, what's up? Everything okay?" You know, offer to be there for him. If it's a good friend of mine, then I'm gonna tell him, "Hey, I'm here. I see stuff going on. Would you talk to me? Let me know what's going on."
Mm-hmm.
If they and then it's up to them to let you in there. Some
Mm-hmm.
people choose not to do that. Others choose to, and if they do, the best thing you can do is listen. Listen to what they're saying before you interject what you think, because they
Mm-hmm.
may not need what's going on with you. Don't put your life in their situation. Let their situation be their situation, and listen and be there for them. And then if you can help them out, then help them out. If you can't, then let them know that, hey, you're not in this, you're not here by yourself. I'm always
Mhm.
here, whether to listen to you. If I can help you, I'm gonna help you, whatever. But don't make their problem your problem. That's one of the things that people often do. You'll start to tell them your problem, what's going on with you, and they're there to help you. But then they turn it around and make your problem and their issues their problem.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
people don't need that. Sometimes you got to just listen.
Mhm. Hey, how you doing today? And before you know it, you pouring all your issues on them. Queen
Hmm.
Tifa, what's on your heart right now? Because a lot of times you have to be real, like Sharon said, you have to be real strategic on how or if you approach that particular person to talk to them about what's going on. So how do you handle that?
If someone is talking to me about their issues or me talking to them about mine.
No, you notice that there's somebody in the workplace and you all are not really close, but you pay attention to that person. And majority of the time, they're real outgoing. They're the life of the party. But the last, say, 3 weeks to a month, they've been very withdrawn, and they held by themselves and stuff like that. How do you approach that person and find out are they okay?
Usually, I'll start up a conversation, usually about the job or a problem I have on the job. Then I'll work my way around it. Girl, how you been? What's going on with you? You kind of quiet today. And if they respond, start talking about their issues, then usually I just listen to them because I want them to be able to express themselves and get it out, whatever it is that's going on the inside. And then I pose questions to them like, oh, wow, why do you feel that way? And what do you think you should do about that? Or how do you feel about that? I ask them
Hmm.
questions so it will kind of help them kind of gauge where they are themselves. So that's how I deal with it. I ask them the questions, and usually they end up figuring it out for themselves or that light to come on like, oh yeah, yeah, this is what I should do because I
Hmm.
asked you some heartfelt questions that will cause you to think, you know.
Hmm.
That's what I usually do. And basically I just listen, I just listen, listen, listen.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. Now, Rico, as men, we have this thing where we don't really like getting into each other's business, and a lot of time men think you'll stay out of my business. So if it's one of your boys at work or something like that, and you realize that something is going on with him, and maybe y'all are not really close like that, but you just recognize, you pay attention, and you see something that's going on. How do you approach him, and how do you get into that conversation with him?
Just have basic interaction. I mean, sometimes you can just be cordial. Hey man, how you doing, man? You ain't gotta ask them how you. I mean, I remember you told me what your uncle said about asking people how they're doing.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah,
can't help them, what's the use
hmm,
in asking? You know.
exactly.
But sometimes you have to do it that way just to make light conversation, just to get them out of that world that they're in. Because sometimes they might be in their own little world. You can tell that they lost, caught up
Hmm.
in it. So I mean, you just make light conversation. I mean, it's really hard. It really would depend on the situation. It would depend on the character of that person. That person might be a friendly person. He might not be too friendly. You
Hmm.
come up to some people and right off the top, none of your MF in business.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I saw a video yesterday where a guy was pulled over in a bicycle lane. He was going through some stuff. Then a white guy was coming up in the bicycle lane on a bicycle, and he was trying to tell the black guy, "Look, man, you can't park in this lane like this. This is against the law. This is a bicycle lane. This ain't, even though it's on the curb, it's a bicycle lane."
Hmm.
That black dude jumped out that car, man, and ran up in that dude's face 5 or 6 different times, and you could tell he was mad about something else. And he told the man, "Look, before you get out running your mouth, you need to find out what's been going on with somebody and what kind of day they had before you get messed up." Now he
Hmm.
was wrong. He was completely in the wrong, being parked in the wrong place and having that attitude. But it was just the fact that he was a random person going through something. The man that pulled up on him on the bicycle behind him, he didn't know. So you gotta be careful, because sometimes when people are going through things, they got a real nasty demeanor about themselves. They don't want to be bothered with nobody. And I mean, and to be honest, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of videos out there of people just taking off and punching somebody innocent because they were mad at somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we
Mhm.
see these videos, man, what was wrong with them? They were mad at their wife. They were mad at their husband. They were mad at their children. Maybe they were
Mhm.
mad at a friend that bullied them. And they couldn't do anything with that big joker. But when they walked outside, the first person they seen, wow.
Mhm.
So you can't approach everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sharon, is there a difference between lonely and lonesome?
Um, I would say slightly, but it's basically it's all the same to me. I mean, if
Mhm.
I'm lonely, I'm lonely. I mean, you can be lonesome by like sitting right here in the house by yourself. You can be,
Mhm.
you can be lonely, but to me, it's basically the same. I don't see
Mhm.
a difference in the two.
What if can you be either or both at a party with a house full of or a stadium full of people, what have you?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been around family at events and stuff that's going on with my family, and felt like I was the
Mhm.
only person in the room.
Wow.
It, it depends on what you're going through, and during that time. It was
Mhm.
just a point in my time when me and sometimes you can be at that place, and even your family don't know that you're in that
Mhm.
low place. It
Mhm.
all depends. But yeah, you
Exactly.
can you can be with you can be with people and still
Mhm.
be alone.
Okay. Rico, I saw you shaking your head, acknowledging your agreement with that. What's on your heart, brother?
I mean, yeah, I was just agreeing. I mean, you can be I put it this way, you could be um more about religion or more about spirituality and be around a lot of family members that's just about drinking and shooting the bull.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You know, you could be about people that likes talking about educational stuff or things that's going on in the news, and then you got other people that just want to talk about the people in the neighborhood or talk about the people that they're friends with and just telling business about people you don't know sometimes. So
Mhm.
you can be lonely in an environment like that because that environment is foreign to what you are about. If you aren't about gossiping about people, or if you aren't about just being loud and cussing and showing your butt, then yeah,
Mhm.
you might feel lonely if you were more conservative. I know plenty of people that they just don't, man, they don't relate to anybody in their family. I know people that don't relate to anybody in their neighborhoods. Certain neighborhoods I lived in, I was completely different than everybody that was around me.
Hmm.
And it showed. And don't get me wrong, even though I stood out differently, some of them I drew a lot of people to me. Now, other people may not have drawn them to themselves like I did, but I was able to draw people to me, and it wasn't intentional. But at the same time, it was something different about me that made these people see, well, hey, let's see what's going on with him, what he's talking about. Maybe they could tell by my conversation. Okay, he's a little different. So I mean, sometimes you just have to, it's good being lonely sometimes when you in one of those environments that you know that everything is toxic, everything is negative, and don't that everybody's blinded, and you're the only one that's really seeing the reality of what's going on. And I guess it's on the next person now because he done left out on us again.
Go ahead, Tifa. Tell me what you're thinking.
Usually in a party situation, I usually try to find someone that I can connect with. It might be the way they smile at you, or how they spoke to you or whatever, and then you try to find some connections right there, some common ground. That's what I usually try to do. I find the most friendliest person in the room and kind of introduce myself, maybe compliment them on the dress they're wearing. Girl, you wearing them heels are spot on. I try to make, friendly, and, thereby gain someone I can kind of interact with. But usually when I'm feeling lonely, that's how I do it, because I'm not feeling real sociable. So when I'm not feeling sociable, but I have to be at an event or a party or something like that, I usually go for the one that's kind of like me, kind of quiet at times. You know what I'm saying? Kind of
Mhm.
reserved but fun. So I do that. But for the most part, if I'm feeling really, really, really like lonely and just jacked up, I'm not going to nobody's party. I don't feel sociable. I don't feel pretty. I don't feel like doing my hair. I don't feel like doing nothing. Look, I ain't going. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna stay home and just,
Mhm.
try to get to my place. But that's how I usually do it. If I'm really feeling like lonely and down or whatever, I'm not trying to be in nobody's party.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay.
Hope that
That's
makes sense.
It did.
It did. It did. Sharon, let me ask you this question. If you in a place, so sometimes people get in a place where they don't want to be around people. Not that they're lonely, not that they're lonesome or anything. They just want to be by themselves. And if you have a situation like that where you just want to be by yourself and a week go by and normally you out hanging out and having a good time with people, but you just in that thing, you just don't want to be around people. And one of your friends come up and say, aren't you lonely? Because you don't want to be around people and because you're in that mood and you're in that zone, that don't necessarily mean that you're lonely. When you're by
Right.
yourself, don't mean that you're lonely because you're by yourself. So, Shine, what's on your heart about that? How do you address that person that's asking you, girl, aren't you lonely? Just sitting in that house by yourself, aren't you lonely? What do you say to them?
Like, no, I'm not lonely. I mean, I like to be by myself a lot.
Mm-hmm,
You know, sometimes it's good to be around people, but sometimes it's good to just be in your own zone. And
mm-hmm,
I like being in my own zone. I mean, I have a large family.
mm-hmm,
Um, sometimes I don't want to be bothered with them either. You know,
mm-hmm,
sometimes you just want what you want, and the peace and quiet and serenity. You can think it all through. Whatever's going on, you can take and work it through. Sometimes just by having that peace and quiet. You don't always have to be with somebody. I mean, I take trips by myself, everything, because sometimes I just want to be with me, my own
mm-hmm.
thoughts, get me together, and that's the only way that I can do that. So there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with being alone or being by yourself. You pick and choose.
Exactly. Rico, what do you say to that, man? You want to be, you're just in that mood, man. You just don't want to be around a lot of people, man. You just want to hang out with you. I want to be with me. And I want to sit here, maybe look at the game. The weekend, I'm gonna stay here the whole weekend. I'm just gonna look at sports the whole weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm gonna look at sports, get my food or whatever, and just enjoy me. And then Saturday evening, one of your boys come out, hey man, look at here, man. We was at the little spot last night, man. We didn't see you. What's going on, man? Ain't you lonely here by yourself? Rico, how do you address that?
It's just the way you just said it.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't fool with everybody that was over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Man, everything that they're about over there ain't about all that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I like to pay attention to the game. I don't like all that distraction, all that noise going on, and all that cussing and hollering. Man, I can't hear the game. I like to concentrate on the game. I watch the game to watch the game. I don't come to watch the game to be around the atmosphere. But you have some people that come for the atmosphere. Just think about it. I think half of the think about all the viewers of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now I can imagine over 80% of people that watch the Super Bowl aren't football fans.
Mm-hmm.
They just watch the festivities.
Yeah.
True.
Same thing with MMA now. I can remember I was a big UFC fan. That wasn't nothing but a brute man thing. Now you watch these pay-per-view fights, man, and you see women all through that. And they probably ain't paying attention to the fights. And if they are, they just want the knockouts. They don't know the technical side of it. Some do. Some do go for the sport. But some just want it for the entertainment or just for the atmosphere. Me, I would, if it depends on me. If I'm going to a soccer game or a hockey game, I go for the atmosphere. Because I'm not interested in soccer or hockey. But now if I'm going to a football game, if I'm going to an Alabama game, man, we better be there on time.
Yeah.
And I want to watch the whole game. I'm not trying to get there late. I'm not trying to leave there early. I want to go watch that game. If you invite me to a Super Bowl party, I'm coming to watch that game.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I would choose to be alone so I can enjoy the festivities the way I want to. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember hardly nothing of that Janet Jackson halftime of that Super Bowl.
True.
Too many people around, and I was too drunk. So,
Yeah, you get your little lean on, get your little Saturday you can lean on. But my thing is, and dealing with the Super Bowl, being out here in Atlanta, even when I lived in Columbia, I've never gone since me and my wife been together. I've never gone to a Super Bowl party. We always look at the Super Bowl right at home. We get out festivities and stuff like that, and the truth of the matter, we don't invite nobody over. It's just us. We sit there and we watch the Super Bowl together. We've been doing that for years, man. And you can imagine the amount of parties that I've been invited to, man. Won't you come on? We having this party, blase, blase. One year, man, I just got tired of people inviting me to a party, man. I didn't be mean or rude to them, but I knew what it was, and I told them, I said, nah, man, that's something me and my wife do, man. We look at the Super Bowl together. Well, she could come along. No, you missing it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You missing it. That's what we do. in our house, in the comfort of our own home. We ain't got to worry about nothing. We watch the game together. Win, lose, or draw, we're gonna look at the game. If we go for the same team, good. If we don't, it's a little competition between us. But we do that together. Sharon, what's on your heart?
I mean, it's good to be by yourself, right? I mean, I like
Mm-hmm.
to look at the games and stuff at home sometimes too. I mean, my family have different parties and friends have stuff going on, but I choose to take and stay home so I can enjoy the peace and enjoy the game, enjoy
Mm-hmm.
everything on my own. I don't always have
Mm-hmm.
to be around a bunch of people, and it's not because I'm lonely. It's
Yeah.
because I choose to. So
Mm-hmm.
I choose to stay home, or I choose to take a trip and go somewhere by myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice that I make, and I'm
Exactly.
okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Tiva, are you back with us?
Mhm.
Tiva done turn the camera off.
Yes,
Rico,
you.
I need you to do something for me, and we're pretty much at the midway point right now. So I wanted to talk about some things. Then I wanted to get to this point right here.
Mhm.
Explain, from your definition, from what you feel, what is the absolute definition? What does it mean to be lonely?
What does it mean to be lonely?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess it would depend on where you are and within. Are you depressed? Or are you just not a people person? Um, are you just aggravated with people in your atmosphere? Are you feeling unsafe about what's out there in the world? Like you got some people they don't like going out. Period. So that definition, man, that would be hard because I don't want to just put depression or
Mm-hmm.
somebody just being in a dark place on that because sometimes being lonely is a choice. Now the problem is when you don't want to be lonely but don't want nobody to come around you. Like maybe somebody that's considered lower class,
Mm-hmm.
the have-nots, maybe somebody that's handicapped, or maybe an autistic child that can't be understood. They can understand us, but we can't understand them. I notice that sometimes too. I see sometimes in places I've been, I seen handicapped children or handicapped people or elderly people, and they would be ignored even in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would be doing their own thing, and then they would just every now and then they would appease the older person, or they just come almost like being charitable to the person that doesn't fit in with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, whenever I catch that oddball person, I'm the one that always goes and sit down and talk to them.
Mhm.
But being lonely, like I said, man, it's really hard to put a definition on that without me just going and looking it up. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
able to put one on it.
Got you. Sharon, what do you say to that? And let me ask you this question right here. Do you think um suicide, being suicidal, could be a leg to loneliness?
Absolutely. I mean, I know someone that has attempted suicide, and they say
Mhm.
when they get to that dark place, no matter what you do or what you say, even when I talk to the person when they're in that dark place, there's
Mhm.
nothing you can do. If they want to do it, they want to do it, regardless. Either they're gonna do it while you're there, or they're gonna do it when you leave.
Mhm.
The only thing you can do is to keep trying to talk them out of it, give them happy things, different memories, try to change their mindset to what they're seeing and pray that they change, they change and they don't commit that one act to take themselves
Mhm.
out. In that situation, I talked about the person's grandchildren, and I talked about the family and friends, and hey, we gonna do this we're gonna take this trip, or we're gonna do we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, to give them something else to look forward to, to
Mhm.
get them out of that dark place. But yeah, most definitely, it's not always about loneliness either. It could be about just things that's going on in their lives, and
Mhm.
they don't know what to do. They feel like they're backed up against the wall. So the only thing you can do is to truly, in that situation, is to pray about it, pray with them, talk to them, and hopefully, the words that you say, it was enough for them not to commit that.
Mhm. That's good. That's good. Because this thing called loneliness, it can be very harmful, hurtful if it's not addressed, and if you don't have the proper people around you.
Mhm.
Because I'm gonna tell you something, T, if a person is depressed or lonely and no one pays attention to them, that could lead them to that place. that we were just talking about in regards to suicide, because they'll think nobody care anyway. And if they get to a place where they say, well, nobody care about me anyway, it wouldn't make any difference whether I'm here or whether I'm gone. You know, if somebody gets to that place, Tiva, what do you do?
Oh my goodness. Case in point, I would really try to redirect their thoughts and try to give them a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of show them, okay, well, this is going good in your life. That's going good in your life. Then I would try to, just like I said before, listen to them and then ask them questions. Well, why do you feel like nobody loves you? Why do you feel like you don't want to be here? And a lot of times they're able to gauge their own thoughts and kind of redirect themselves. Because I know with depression, it does stem from loneliness, because there's different phases to loneliness. You can be alone because you don't have anybody around you, but there's a levels where it's so deep that you can't even see any happiness anywhere. You can't see any happiness with family, your kids, no one. That thing is so deep that it will clench you and make you want to just walk up out your mind, walk up out your life, and just say, what's the use? So a lot of times when I see someone like that, I really try to push them to seek professional help. If they need medication, to get them through that. If prayer is not helping you, if talking to someone is not helping you, then you gotta call on it so they don't be a threat to themselves or try to take their own life. You have to take that very seriously, because a lot of times you won't hear them say, I want to kill myself. They just do it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? So yeah, so you gotta kind of really listen to them. When I hear people say I'm lonely, I'm not happy, I listen to them, because they can go home. They could be homicidal too. I'm sick of them messing with me. I'm sick of my husband. I'm sick of my wife. And the best way to get rid of everything where I can be happy, I'm just gonna go kill them. So you gotta really listen to their conversations, and if it's really like violence or anything like that, or they feel like they want to harm themselves or someone else, hey, call the authorities, get them some help ASAP, because it's real.
Exactly. Now, Rico, we spoke earlier about men and the macho side of men. If one of your boys, the last couple of conversations you had, only thing he's saying is, man, I'm getting tired of this, man. I'm getting sick of this, man. It's always something. It's always something, man. This person doing this to me, that person doing this to me. Man, it's always something, man. I'm getting tired of this. Could that be some telltale clues that something is going on with that person?
I mean, if you dig deep enough and ask him what he's talking about, yeah. I mean, one thing about it is when you hear somebody talking like that, if you got any kind of concern or interest in that person, then yeah, you're gonna ask some questions. And if you hear them vocalizing stuff like that, it might be meant for you to pay attention, because if they say they're tired of it, they might be talking about tired of this job. Say you're on the job, they're tired of it. Well, we know how people can go post. You don't want to be an innocent victim, so you might need to pay attention just for your best benefit, for your best interest. You might need to listen to what this joker talking about. Because like Tiva said, you might be ready to come through here and take him about 8 or 9 people out, because he ain't just mad at one person, he mad at the whole system. He mad at the atmosphere. Maybe it's a good old boy system, and maybe he's been used and abused, and he ain't been promoted the way he should. And for some reason, they won't promote him. They just keep misusing and mistreating him. He's tired of it. So sometimes you got to listen. I know I told you about when I was in New York, and I talked the guy out of committing suicide, and I didn't know he was even suicidal until he told me what happened. And most people, because I could have looked at him and I almost been like, man, you sure strange in New York to be trying to just create conversation like this, because I noticed in New York people wasn't cordial.
Yeah.
They went on about their business. It wasn't no, hey, how you doing? There ain't no Southern hospitality up there. They got they got their life they living. They ain't got time to be holding the door open for you or speaking to you just because you look them in their eyes. They're just gonna look in your eyes and keep on moving. And so I didn't like that at first. And I met one woman, and she looked me in my eyes and spoke to me, and I spoke back, and she said the craziest mess I ever heard in my life. I said, okay, that's why they don't do it. But now this guy walked up to me in the hotel restaurant. We sitting at the bar. And he just struck up conversation. I'm trying to watch the Yankees and the Mets game. And I started looking in his eyes. I'm like, man, he's sort of impatient. What's going on with him? You know what I'm saying? And he asking about me. So I know then, okay, he want to talk. Then he offered to buy me a beer. Well, I don't drink anymore. You know what I'm saying? Well, I get you a Sprite. So I sit there, I'm like, okay, he looking for a friend. He looking for somebody to talk to. We talk. Get to the bottom of it. He was a recovering cocaine addict. And been bad off for a lot of years and met this woman and got straightened out. And he had just came home. Right before I saw him and that boy, he had just walked in on his woman on top of a man cheating on him. And I seen it in his eyes. He started tearing up. I knew it was serious. So, you know, as he started telling me what was going on, I started listening to his life story. Yeah, I got strung out. This area over here is real bad with cocaine. He just started talking about what he was going through, how he met her, and how she straightened him out. So I started realizing then how much of an effect she was on him. See, she motivated him, but he actually got too codependent on her.
Yeah.
So I had to find a way to approach him and let him know that she was just a stepping stone to show him what type of potential he had, and he didn't have to depend on another person. She just showed him that even though she proved that he could do it, she still wasn't the right one. Now she just prepared him for somebody better. And at the end of that is just when he told me, man, you just saved my life.
Wow.
So, you know, sometimes you got to listen, man, because when people reach out to you and they just trying to force conversation on you, man, sometimes you got to listen. That's the human thing to do.
Yeah. But like you said, a lot of times people, and Sharon, I want to hear your heart on this. A lot of time people don't take the time. They feel as though they don't have time. And it could borderline be they don't really care. People don't care like they used to. So Sharon, what do you say to that?
I could say that I'm glad I'm not that type of person. I
Absolutely.
mean, my heart is too big for that, you know, and that's why, you know, people say, you know what, sometimes, you know, people could take me for granted because of the fact that I do try to be there for everybody, you know. I'm always, you know, I'm always there. I wanna be able to help. Even when I know that I can't, I'm gonna always take and still be there to try. You know, sometimes you just have to step back and like everyone is saying, you gotta listen. You gotta listen, not just hear it. You gotta listen to what they're saying. Because people can talk to you all day long. I can be talking to you right now and you're not hearing what I'm saying. You just seeing my lips move and not
Yeah.
paying any attention because your focus could be someplace else. So when people in that situation, you gotta listen. You gotta be there.
Wow.
100%.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
ain't nothing worse than saying something deep to somebody and what you said to them, you know, it deserved a response. And they don't even say,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because they looking at TV
Yep.
while you're on the phone with them. I mean, that's why I like one-on-one, eye to eye. I like in-person communication. I don't like all that getting too deep on telephone conversations where somebody could be doing anything and just let you just vent for no reason. Yeah, I know you need somebody to talk to. Just let it all out. And then they put the phone down. Boom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. TV, look at TV over there. You okay, sis?
TV, you didn't did that?
She done did it. She done did it. She done did
No,
it.
I haven't done it, but I can kind of feel that way
Yeah.
sometimes that they're not really listening to me. They're just preoccupied. You know what I'm saying? So when I feel that from someone, I just be like, okay, let me just hang up the phone. I'll call you back later. I stop talking about how I feel because I can sense through the phone you don't care and you ain't hearing me. You just, you know, trying to throw that I care type of stuff. So like Rico said, I like to be in person because I want to see your eyes. I want to see your facial expressions. I want to feel you.
They
So
need to
you
see
can't
me.
take the phone when you're in front of me. You feel me? You
Yeah.
can't do it. Because I'm, you know, your eyes gonna tell everything, your face is gonna tell on you. So that's the best way to really talk to someone when you're having issues like that. So I gotta agree with Rico on that one.
That's good. That's good. I have a message here, and Sharon, I'm gonna come to you with this message. Somebody said, "Isn't there?" It's real small. I ain't got no glasses on, so y'all work with me. Isn't there a sense of hidden beauty in loneliness because you can't be hurt by others?
Mm.
Sharon?
Well, no. I mean, I guess so, but you can be hurt. I mean, you can be lonely and you can be hurt by what they're saying. I mean, the fact that you're going through it and you're talking to somebody, and the fact that you see that they are not relating, or they're not truly there. They're there physically, but they're not there for you. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can be hurt. So I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rico, what do you say to that?
Well, it's a safety in it. If you
Mm-hmm.
are somebody that fears getting divorced, or you're somebody that fears breakups, um, you are somebody that don't that's not trusting of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like say for instance, you worried about people always taking from you, or stealing from you. Then you might want to be lonely because you don't trust people. You might not trust people around your children because something might have happened to you when you were a child by
Mm-hmm.
somebody that you trusted. So you
Yep.
don't need no man, or you don't need no woman. You know, um, I remember when my sons lived with me at one time, and I wouldn't bring women around them, random women around them. Well, I mean, even after me and the girlfriend I had at that point in time broke up, I wouldn't bring my random women around them. I wouldn't let them see me being whorish.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes some of the women they wanted to date, and I still wouldn't bring my children around them, and they'd be like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because if things don't work out from you, what's to say that you don't move on within a week or two? My son see you out somewhere with some other man,
Mhm.
and I mean, if y'all have a relationship, they're gonna feel some type of way. The man
Mm-hmm.
might feel some type of way about you having a relationship with my son. He asks you who that is, or they might just look at you as a floozy. There's so many different things that can happen. So people they put their guards up. That's the reason why sometimes it's a lot of safety in being lonely, because it's hard for somebody else to hurt you, or do something to you when you don't allow them to come around and do anything.
But how much of yourself, TV, and bringing this to you, how much of yourself are you shielding off in doing that? You know, yes, you're protecting your feelings. Yes, you're protecting the way that you feel, but at the same time, you could be depriving yourself of that having that experience of being with that right person because you're afraid.
I would say that you can't run away from love. You can't run away from fear of being hurt, because when you're in love with someone, you have to be vulnerable to the variables of being in a relationship. You feel me?
Mhm.
So I don't say run from it, but although loneliness or being hurt by friends or whatever will send you into loneliness. Well, let me be by myself to regroup or get my thoughts together, or build myself back up because I was hurt over here. So now it's time for me to retreat. I think it's okay to retreat when you need to replenish yourself or to rebuild your confidence or whatever. But as far as relationships, you're gonna be hurt in relationships. That's he might say something you don't like. He might say, "Oh, you're getting fat," or "Oh, what's wrong with your hair?" Or, "Oh, why you wearing them shoes?" You know what I'm saying? It can be all
Good
kind.
Lord. Good Lord.
It can be all
Mhm.
kind of stuff that a man will say to you that will just send you off, especially if you're sensitive. He
Mhm.
might say your breath stink. I don't feel like kissing you. Your breath stink. Like what? So it's gonna be that, but you have to learn how to have balance, engage yourself in the relationship because it's gonna happen. I mean, who's ever been in a relationship and they've never been hurt by something they said or did? Those are
Mhm.
chances you take to be in love with somebody. Other than that, if you're afraid of being hurt, then just don't connect with anyone. Just be by yourself, and that's fine
Be
too if
lonely.
that's what you like. Yeah, if you want to be
Be
that
lonely.
way. I mean, I know plenty of single people that
Mhm.
love it.
Mhm.
So yeah, but for me, no, I'm ready. What you got? Because I got to come back for you. You
What
know
if
what I'm saying?
they come to you? They come to you and say, "What? Why do you keep doing that thing that you do?" And then you look at them, you say, "What thing you talking about?" And they say, "Breathing." Sharon, what's in your heart?
What?
I know, right? I know. Like,
I do. I keep breathing because that's the best thing for me. Why you keep breathing? That would be
exactly.
my reply back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do what's best for me, and I would hope that whoever that individual is, they would do what's best for them. But if that's the way they feel, then I'm gonna cut all ties with them anyway. I don't want to have nothing to do with them, because if you don't want what's best for me, you can't be there for me wholeheartedly. I don't need you anyway. I can do bad by myself.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna read this here. I'm gonna read. Got another comment here. Rico, tackle this one right here. What about the disabilities? What about the disabilities? For example, if you have an autistic child, to protect them from the outside, you may not want your friends around because you're devoted to your child and their feelings.
Yeah, I hit on that earlier. You have to be very aware of your environment when you have people that's dealing with disabilities around you like that. Um, Matter of fact, I saw a boy walking from the store the other day. You could tell going back and forth to his home from the store was a difficult problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was worried for him. I was about to call the police, but he had to have these noise cancelers on because
Mm-hmm.
the cars up the street would discombobulate him.
Yeah.
So even with them noise cancelers on, you can see him still trying to find his way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I guess he was counting his steps in which direction he was going in, and then he was still watching the traffic. I was afraid for him. But you have to
Mhm.
be careful because the least little thing could throw them off.
Yeah.
So they just can't accept the same noise exposure level. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, I mean, look, I get discombobulated sometimes, man. I can get in an environment of people sometimes and everybody's just talking and it's chaotic. And I will find myself losing it. It ain't
Mhm.
nothing drastic going on. It ain't no fight going on, nothing terrible, no turmoil. It's just chaotic and loud and noisy, unorganized. And I gotta go because I get frustrated and I catch myself getting an attitude. So, imagine somebody that's dealing with a disability mentally,
Yeah. Mhm.
what kind of frustration they will go through. I might have a mental disability myself. So, imagine that somebody with an extreme one, though, dealing with
Mhm.
autism. So I can understand you shielding them and protecting them from people that
Yeah.
just wouldn't know how to respect the atmosphere that needs to be there for that person. Because you gotta respect everybody in that environment.
Hmm.
Some
You know
people feel
what?
like, okay, I'm gonna just do what I want to do. But you gotta be cautious, not cautious, you gotta be mindful and make everybody in your environment comfortable. It's not right for you to have one person in your environment feel out of place and uncomfortable. That's why they got wheelchair accessible places.
Mhm.
Everybody needs to be comfortable if they're gonna be in that environment.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, one thing, a reverse to what you just said. Not saying that nothing that you said was wrong, but the reverse side of that is this. I know a lot of people that lived in New York their whole life and born and raised in New York and came down south. And the quiet almost drove them crazy. Quiet and listening to the bugs at nighttime almost drove them crazy because they were not used to that. So Sharon, how there's always two sides of the coin. So that's something that I had to talk to people. I said, man, what's wrong with you, man? Why so quiet, man? Man, what do you mean, man? You in South Carolina, man? It's quiet here. And what's all that noise? That's the crickets, brother. The bugs. You know what I mean? But they wasn't used to that. It was something totally different. So Sharon,
Hmm.
talk to me.
I mean, yeah, that can happen. I mean, the same thing is, I know I can tell you, like with inmates, I work with Department of Corrections,
Mm-hmm.
and they're, when they leave from one level, go to a different level. I've had a guy to tell me, "Hey, I can't do this. This
Mm-hmm.
place here is too open." I said, "What do you
Yeah.
mean it's too open? You're at a level one." "No, I just
Mm-hmm.
can't do this." He said, "People walk up on you and people say this and people say that. You know what? And I don't know who got my back, or I when I at least if I'm in my level 2 or level 3, then people can't just walk up on me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Their environment themselves can hamper a lot of stuff." And I'm like, "Yo, the reason why you're here is so that you can get better, so you
Mm-hmm.
can be able to get ready to get acclimated to get back out into society, so you'll be able to take and live life, because things have changed. You've been locked up for 24 years. You getting
Mm.
ready to go home in 2 years. You need to see what the outside world is, and this is your first step to getting there in these programs that we offer." It's like,
Yeah.
nah, you know what, Miss G, I thank you for all that, but I just can't do that. You need to send me
Mm-hmm.
back. And I mean, I'm sitting there because I'm like, are you seriously? So
Yeah.
I talked to this
Yeah.
young man for a week. Eventually, you know, he ended up doing something so he can go back. You know, if you're not going to send me back, then I'm going to do something so I can get back there. You know, people, when you're used to one thing and you've lived your whole life doing that one thing, then sometimes it's hard to take and come to the other side because they see your world as the outside, their world as the inside, and they
Yeah.
don't know how. They can't comprehend, they can't do it, then they can't survive in it. And they'll do stuff, or either they'll make that change to get back to where their peaceful zone is.
And see, the thing about it, talking about this loneliness, man, there's so many different layers to this thing, man. But that was his reality.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that you just explained, and a lot of people would think that was crazy, but that's his reality. You know, he been in that situation, like you said, over 20 something years.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's used to.
Mm-hmm.
This whole different world that you're talking about, and all this quiet stuff with people, you know, that's shocking.
Yep.
That was very shocking. Tiva, what's on your heart?
Oh, I'm just gonna chime in on the kids that have disabilities and everything. I say yes, protect them to the utmost. Protect and shield them, watch over them to the utmost, because you have people that don't really understand autistic people or developmentally disabled or handicapped in any kind of way. They kind of tend to overlook them, mistreat them. I've seen that happens. So yes, I would say shield your child if you must, and put them in. Try to reach out to other people that have like disabilities, whatever, to try to get them, interacting with other people just like them. I had a patient. I work in a correctional institution myself, and some of the patients that come in there, they are developmentally disabled, and they have mental issues. So I tend to look out for them the most. Make sure they get their medication on time, and because I know, once again, when you have that disability, a lot of times you're mistreated. So yeah, I would say protect them and watch over them.
Exactly. Now, Rico, that their reality of what we talked about in the example that Sharon put out there, their reality, the average person may not look at it as being sane. They may look at it as being, you're outside the box, man. Now you're about to come into the real world, blah blah blah. They're trying to prepare you to get into this real world, but that's been their real world for 20 years. That's been their real world for 20 years, and it's real hard for a person. I've seen people, because I worked at the Department of Correction as well. I've seen people that will get out, and a month after doing a lot of time, a month later, they're right back in. They right back there, man. I'm like, man, yo, bro, you just went. Hey, man, and things happen. Yeah, okay, well, because that's what they're used to. But go ahead, Rico. What's on your heart?
There's a lot of them they like revelry and chaos. They need that to be able to slide under the radar a little bit. Or maybe if they got a lot of chaos going on, the chaos that they're causing won't get as much attention. So they can slide a little bit more, with what their agenda is. I'm gonna tell you, man, being lonely sometimes is a virtue, because when you walk out that door and you look at the news and you see what a wicked world we live in, sometimes it makes you not want to be around people. I mean, like I said, I'm a people person at times, but for the most part, I'm not a people person. I can catch myself sometimes just being like, man, we need to purge. It's some people that really need to get away from here, because some people actually do live like they were brought up in an animal house. I was locked up one time. Those guys acted like they were in an animal house. I was like, well, if I say if it was 40 people in the cell block, it may have been 5 people like me or somewhere close to like me in there. And so it was only so many few people I could talk to. But I mean, throughout the night, man, people in chorus together singing rap songs that didn't know the words, and they would, man, just be banging on the walls, and it seemed like they would just get a kick. You could tell they were bored. They didn't have nothing else to do. They had all kind of chaos going on up in their head. But that wasn't me. I caught myself a couple of times like, man, you know what? I think I want to go to solitary.
Yeah.
I just need a peace of mind, man. I mean, it was like I was about to go crazy. But you know, it is a virtue sometimes to be lonely. You think about what can make a person be lonely, what can make a person choose loneliness or to be lonesome. Imagine being a man or a woman losing your husband to your spouse, or to your brother, your sibling. I put it that way. I said that wrong. Imagine losing your spouse to your sibling. You don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
You can't even trust your own sister or your brother to not come into your household, tear it up, and then take the woman that you got kids with. Now here it is, they got kids together. That's all dysfunctional and ugly. The world sees it.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you something. I guess it was about 3 years ago. There was a fella used to be on Real Men Being Men with us all the time, and we was having a conversation about something similar to that. And he said his brother can't even come if he ain't at home. His brother can't come to his house, can't come in his house. You know, that's his wife. But he said his brother. I said, man, that's your brother, man. He said, no, I don't trust no man in my house around my wife. I'm like, wow, bro, how miserable that have to be? You can't even walk out the door. It's almost like you're saying, not only are you saying you don't trust your brother, but you also don't trust your wife. You don't trust her either because you don't trust the fact that she's gonna do the right thing. Now, if somebody try to take advantage of her or something like that, that's one thing. But you have to trust the fact that your wife is gonna do what's right, and she's not gonna do these things. So you have to trust her enough. Sharon, talk to me.
Well, if he don't trust his wife, then they don't have anything left anyway. I mean, everybody look at love. I look at trust and respect. If I can't trust you, then I definitely can't respect you, and I don't need to be with you. So, if my husband was to come to me and say, "Hey, your brother can't come here, or my boy can't come here because of what y'all might do," then I don't need my husband. I mean, I need you to trust me more than anything.
Exactly.
That's just that. Trust who I am. Trust what I'm gonna do.
Exactly.
But you got to be mindful of what that person has been through.
Yep.
If they've been deceived, I mean, you know, this same person you tell them to trust you may have been touched by a family member, violated. Might have been somebody that definitely shouldn't have did that. So now that's another reason why you can't trust nobody. I can't even trust my own dad. I can't even trust my own mama. I can't even trust my older sister. Look at R. Kelly.
But let me ask you this question, Rico, and I understand where you're going with that. But let me ask you this question right here: if they've gotten to the point where they're husband and wife, shouldn't they have had conversations based on this though? That's something
they probably have, and she probably understands why, and she can deal with that because she don't blame him. I mean, sometimes you listen to some people's story, and you say, you know what? I don't blame you for not trusting nobody. Yeah, you can trust me, and I got to do what I got to do I got to do what I got to do, but you can't blame them for being apprehensive about people with some of the people that they should have trusted more than anybody violated.
I understand what you're saying, but my thing is that's a prison within itself that you're subjecting yourself to when you decide to say, well, I understand what you're saying. I understand, but I don't know. See, you have to have a choice. You have to make choices on your own too in situations like that. And if it's going to be an issue going forward, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It makes sense what you're saying, and that's what I would tell that person. But I don't think I want to live in that situation like that. I don't think I want to live like that because if you have a sister, and example, when I was in Colombia, one of my best friends, he's in the military. He retired a couple of years ago. He in Korea, but when he was about to go to Korea, they live with us because when they do the whole military thing, they shut down the house, ship all this stuff out, and so they live with us. Him, his wife, and his son lived with us for about I think he lived there for about 3 weeks, and then he had to leave out, and he left the wife there with us, with my wife and I, until he went there, got everything set up, and then he left. And so we was in a house together. My wife knew that, and sometimes my wife would be at work, and I'll come home, and me and his wife would be in the house together. They knew, everybody knew that was nothing gonna go, no funky mess going on. My wife trusted me. Her husband trusts her. And
some people got standards. Some people got standards in class and respect, but we got to be mindful that we live in a wicked world where some people don't have standards and respect. They don't have any boundaries. Their brother's wife ain't off limits to them. Their brother's daughter isn't off limits to them. We live in
Wow.
that world.
Mhm.
So I feel like if you love somebody, and nobody perfect, if that
Mhm.
is their one flaw, then I might be able to deal with that one flaw that that woman might not be able to trust me in because her sisters, not just one sister, maybe her cousin, maybe her sister, maybe her friend, took her last husband. I can
Mm.
understand that, but what I can do, I can try to prove to her that I ain't that person.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because ain't
Exactly.
nobody perfect. See, you got to deal with somebody's flaws if you love them. Love's
Mhm.
supposed to overcome all. So if there are other things that I can't let disqualify me from being in a relationship with this person, that's one of them I can't let do it. I can't let it be because I'm still being mindful of how they feel and what they experience.
Mhm. Read that right there, Rico. And we got a caller. We're gonna go to the caller. Then we're gonna get on out of here. Read that for me.
From stick to get, trust is one of my biggest issues. I don't trust nobody besides my immediate family, and I admit there's a problem, but that's the world we live in nowadays, at least in mine. I can agree. I can understand
That's
that.
right. I can understand that too.
Wow. Okay. Okay. We got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? I know who it is, y'all. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Salutations, lovely people.
Hey, in case somebody don't recognize that voice, that's my baby. That's my daughter. That's my baby girl right there. Hey, boo boo, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking about loneliness. What's on your heart?
Well, I think I've gotten all my questions
Mm-hmm.
answered. I don't know. I find comfort in loneliness. I've chosen not to make friends here, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any friends here, and I like it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If someone comes from, a past friend comes up, I still have friends. Let's
Mm-hmm.
not get crazy here. I still have friends.
Mm-hmm.
I just choose not to make new ones
Okay.
because I don't have time for the drama. I don't have time for it. I have a goal, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
very focused on my goal,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't, I'm just not part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Great.
and I get you need people,
Mm-hmm.
I understand everybody needs somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, I think I have good people that are already, in my corner, whether near or far, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of comfort in. I wouldn't say loneliness. I feel like people just, when you're alone, you're lonely. I just like to be alone. I don't like people in my area, my space.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Okay.
think loneliness and alone, people interchange those, and that is not at all what you should do.
Okay. It sounded to me like your mama did a good job with you, girl. You sound like your mama did a good job with you. Sharon, what's on your heart?
Right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with your daughter. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being alone, if that's what you choose to do. I mean, you do your circle. That's why I keep my circle small, because
Mm-hmm.
then I don't have to worry about a whole lot of the outside noises out there either. And I can pick and choose and do what I want to do when I want to do it. You just have to know what you want. I mean, everybody don't look at it as being lonely. Some of us look at it as peace of mind. And me
Mm-hmm.
being by myself gives me peace of mind. That's why I keep my circle small.
Mm-hmm. Now, how you gonna play tennis by yourself?
Well, if I want to play tennis, and I can find somebody to play tennis with, but a lot of time, Ryan, you know me, I'm solo, and I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
being that way. That's
Exactly.
what I do. That's
Okay.
my piece.
So, but you can't play tennis by yourself.
I don't, I don't, I don't play tennis, so it don't matter.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
what's that one that they play where you knock the ball up off the wall?
Oh,
And they come
racquetball.
into you? Yeah, I play some racquetball.
That's right.
Exactly. Exactly. Tiva, are you back with us?
I don't think so.
Okay. We got another reader there, Rico.
I learned if I don't put trust in new people, that I won't be disappointed if they betray me.
And I think that's a big part of it right there. The idea of being betrayed and let down.
Mhm.
I think
Protecting
that's
yourself.
yeah, exactly. I think that's a huge part of it right there. And so we have to be real mindful of sometimes we have to make ourselves vulnerable though. Sometimes we have to.
That's a hard thing to do.
It is. It is. And that's what I'm about to say. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not a comfortable thing to do.
Mhm.
But if we're going to open up ourselves, we have to open up ourselves. And if we're going to trust that person, and we have to trust them wholeheartedly if they're going to be a part of us and a part of our life and a part of our existence. And unless or until they do something to disrespect that or to change your heart on that, no, if you feel it worthy, give them a chance. If you feel it worthy, give them a chance. Tiva, I need you to pray us out, sis.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come before you this evening. We thank you for the topic of today about loneliness. Lord God, I just pray that you will touch each and every person out there that is dealing with loneliness and feeling alone, even feeling like there's no hope in the world, Father. I just pray that you would touch their hearts and that you would keep them strong. Thank you for this broadcast. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Anybody got anything before we get out of here? Mary, anything on your heart, Mary?
Nothing happens to be on my heart right now. My heart is not heavy.
Well, good deal. That's a good thing. Sharon, what's on your heart, sis? We're ready to get out of here. We're ready to call it an evening. This has been a great podcast.
Everybody be safe.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. Okay, we got another comment. Let me put this comment up there, and then we'll get on. Let me see. Amen, guys. Have a wonderful and blessed night. Good deal. Good deal. Well, it is now 7:07. You're about to exit only one. I want to thank everybody for joining us. More than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK and Media Group and Associates and Only One Truth to be a part of your evening. It is now 7:07. You're about to exit Only One Truth. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great evening and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light from only one truth. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live, and let your light so shine. Do me a favor if you don't mind. Give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? You all take care of each other and have a great and a wonderful evening.